Alright guys, we're back for another help problem. I just realized I have a bajillion tabs open, but that's fine. So we're looking at our community help document. I want to keep referring you guys back to this anytime I make these videos because this is available in our Schoology page and it is where I'm dropping all of these questions and posting the answers. So once I make this video and once it gets uploaded, it will go right here. So the question we have is that Joelle is working on a school report in a word processor. She wants to place an oversized image which is 30.51 centimeters wide so that it appears centered on the page. The width of the page is 21.59 centimeters. In the program, horizontal positions to the right of the leftmost edge of the page are positive. Now, I think this is where the problem starts to get really complicated, is what you guys are immediately thinking about is let's grab the corner and resize the image. But nothing in this problem says anything about resizing the image. So, and I should have written image on my little cards here. One of my favorite professors, Dr. Smith, would always say draw a picture, right? In this one, I can't really just easily draw a picture on my graph paper, so I went ahead and drew a picture that I thought would help us a little bit more. So if our page has a width of 21.59 and our picture has a width, or our image has a width of 30.51, obviously, if I center it on the left of the page, it's going to hang over on the right. If I center it on the right of the page, it's going to hang over on the left. So what they tell me is that Joelle wants to center the image. So there's always going to be a center of the actual screen, and then we're going to try to line up the center of the image with that. So especially if you're on Google Slides or anything like that, it would actually give you a little click line that would tell you that you're centered. I'm going to sort of use my graph paper here and say I've got 2.5 boxes on this side and 2.5 boxes on this side. This would probably look even, right? Centered. But what we're wondering is what position this corner is at. Now, relative to this corner being the corner of the page in the program, sorry, I need to use pens. I forget that my pencil doesn't really work with this camera recording. So this is our 0. Because they tell us horizontal positions to the right of the leftmost edge are positive positions. So not that our center is 0, our leftmost edge is 0. So our center, we could find out what that is by splitting 21.59 in half, but we don't care about that. What we care about is what horizontal position for the left edge of the image should Joelle use to center. So to line up my centers with each other, I have this leftover amount out here. Now I also have this leftover amount out here, and the way that we could figure out the total amount of leftover is to say our image size of 30.51 minus the page size of 21.59. Of course, we're going to use calculators for a weird subtraction like this, especially because there's going to be borrowing, right? That 9 is going to need to borrow. So we might as well use a calculator since I told you guys I'm assuming that you'll be using calculators. So that gives us 8.92. Now the thing is, that's both gaps, right? So if we want to talk about just one of our gaps, we're going to have to take that value and divide it by 2 to split between the two sides. So again, in your calculator, just hit divide by 2, and we get 4.46. So what that tells me is there's going to be an overhang of 4.46 on this side and an overhang of 4.46 on this side. Now the thing is, that point then is going to have a negative location because positive locations are going to the right, which means that to the left would have to be negative locations. So this corner of our image should land at negative 4.46 in reference to the 0 of the page. Now what this really means is whatever was out here on your image and whatever was out here on your image is not going to be included on the page, but maybe you don't care, right? If you've taken the picture well, your object should be centered. If you've taken classes with like Mr. Estes or Mr. Combs talking about any of these things, your object should be centered inside the image, so the edges probably just don't matter. So we'll let those cut off, and our point should be at negative 4.46 to center the picture on that page.